Hello and welcome to Kidocracy at Large. I am Siddhan Chandra and here every Saturday to offer a kidocratic take on current events. Kidocracy calls for the rule of the minors and minorities, and kidocratic education is led by minors and minorities towards educating adults and the majority. Today I want to talk about Meghan, a racial minority who is teaching Britain that Black Lives Matter. She is also teaching from a position of being a woman, a gender minority. Women may be a majority in numbers, but in terms of power, in patriarchy, a minority. I want to have fun with this, so I will be looking at Harry's and Meghan's incendiary exit from Britain through the 9 values of kidocratic education. In this video, I will be talking about the first 3. Number 1, everyone is an artist. Number 2, polymorphous perversity. And number 3, the gift and the economy of expenditure. So, the first value, everyone is an artist. This was a statement made by a German romantic philosopher called Novalis and popularized by Joseph Beuys, who believed that art is a revolutionary force. According to Beuys, only art is capable of dismantling the repressive effects of a senile social system that continues to totter along the death line. To dismantle in order to build a social organism as a work of art. Every human being is an artist who, from his state of freedom, the position of freedom that he experiences at first hand, learns to determine the other positions of the total artwork of the future social order. I see Meghan and Harry's coming out on Oprah, coming out as refugees from a racist Britain, as a joint artwork by default. It has exploded a bomb under the British throne and shaken up the mainly white, racist, sexist British press. Piers Morgan quit his job on camera when grilled by a biracial colleague. The director of the Society of Editors had to step down. Commonwealth countries are questioning their ties to British monarchy. Meghan and Harry, from the position of freedom and authenticity that is experienced by artists, have pulled off something that will have inevitable effects on the future social order. On to the value number 2 of kidocratic education, polymorphous perversity. Adam Phillips, British psychoanalyst, offers Freud's notion of infantile sexuality as polymorphously perverse as key to authentic education. Infantile sexuality is not genitally focused like it is in adults. It is polymorphous. For a child, its sexuality and curiosity are the same thing. And it is this quality that needs to be emulated by adults, according to Adam Phillips. Harry married a Black American divorcee after a whirlwind romance, while his brother William had waited years before he married Kate. Here was Harry throwing caution to the winds. According to a recent book, Finding Freedom, Harry was offended by William's advice to not rush into marriage before he got to know Meghan better. Generally good advice, but in this context, William comes off sounding like Polonius in Shakespeare's Hamlet. In the initial part of the play, Hamlet directs a small troupe of actors to later perform a little tableau to test his uncle. And then, bidding farewell to them, he directs Polonius, a rule-bound bureaucrat, to treat them well. To which Polonius replies, "I will treat them according to their desert," meaning I will treat them as they deserve to be treated. People have to work their way up, according to Polonius and William. Especially women, scrutinized for consistent compliance in the factory of patriarchy. Whereas Hamlet's response promotes just the opposite of default generosity. God's bodykins man, much better. Use every man after his desert, and who shall escape whipping? Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Harry took a romantic risk. There was no race loyalty in how he loved. Just as his mother loved non-white men, he fell for a non-white woman. It was mutual curiosity and authenticity that led to their romance and marriage. Harry and Meghan's emotional authenticity is a refreshing example of polymorphous perversity, winning over decades of indoctrination, also known as tradition. The third value of Kidocracy is the gift and the economy of expenditure. It is based on George Bataille's notion of the gift, in which he theorizes the practice of the potlatch as practiced by the North American indigenous peoples as exemplifying the economy of expenditure. In contrast with that of colonialism, capitalism, or feudalism, which are economies of production, extraction, and slave labor. Potlatches were orgiastic festivals in which the hosts gave competitively, performing a ritualized form of redistribution of wealth. The ideal at the potlatches was to give a gift so big that it could not be returned. So the status of the person depended not on what he kept for himself, but what he gave away. But I saw the non-productive expenditures of both the pagan cultures as well as the indigenous cultures as completely antithetical to that of Christianity and capitalism. Indeed, the potlatch was banned in Canada as wasteful, reckless, and unchristian. Based on that understanding, Bataille theorized the gift as anything that is in excess of utilitarian exchange of goods. So the gift can be a strike against oppressive productivity that is shored up as necessary and utilitarian. In the video I devote to this value, I present Hamlet and Mr. Blonde of Reservoir Dogs as Bataillean gift givers, subversive figures exploding oppressively productive economies. I argue that what Prince Hamlet and Mr. Blonde did within their respective socioeconomic bubbles was a strike. So what is the economy of utilitarian exchange? or oppressive productivity that Harry and Meghan exploded. The British monarchy and the tabloid press have a system of give and take. The press is allowed its salacious interest in the lives of the royals so that they can keep their ongoing privilege and wealth. But when Meghan and Harry realized that being a working royal meant that they would be smeared by a racist, sexist press, that it meant that they would have to handle suicidal depression in silence, they said, to hell with this job. I am not doing it under these conditions. It's a strike. Meghan breached the fort and Harry followed. You could say that Meghan was the field slave who convinced Harry, the house slave, to take the Underground Railroad to freedom. Here I would like to remember the Prince of Nepal, who shot his whole family in 2001, and also himself, very like Hamlet, to protest their holding his romantic life hostage to his work as a crown prince. Thanks to the Canada Council for the Arts, I had the privilege of researching this event as an example of workplace suicide towards writing a screenplay, The State of Denmark. In my next video, I'll be clarifying Harry and Meghan's incendiary exit from Britain in the light of the other 6 values of kidocratic education. Till then, bye.